Edelweiss and CNBC TV 18 present Change India, what India needs.
So what is the toughest that an entrepreneur finds in India? Is it cash? Is it capital? I mean, if you don't have a rich father like Dilip, or if you didn't come from
right. Let's look at the quality of capital and the quality of labor. Two things that really make our industry: people and money. Now, people and money flow across borders seamlessly, right? If I want to hire a guy, I'm trying to get 2 board of advisor people on the company right now as we speak. It has taken me 22 days to structure a ESOP agreement because of the laws of the government. They can't be employees in the US because I don't give them a salary. So I have to give them a dollar salary. If they're an employee, then I have to do a valuation of my company because we're unlisted. So it almost makes them feel like, what are we getting into? They love me, but when they come across these hurdles, it's terrible.
Okay.
When I pay we buy a lot of talent, outsource a lot of talent because a lot of the gaming talent is not available, high-tech programming. Now, we unfortunately can't tell them beforehand that we're going to deduct 22% tax on what we're going to send you. It comes as such a shock because they say, dude, why are you cutting 22%? Now, that's withholding tax. So our lives are so complicated.
Okay, but is that tax regime onerous across the world, or
it's absolutely across India, just this very India specific. When I remit money to Akamai, which is the largest CDN in the world, basically something that serves internet, I sign on 22 places. Every month, every remittance. Now, I can't keep signing 22 places all the time to remit $5,000. So what's happened, in a nutshell is, we have burst out of the scene like a rocket, but the baggage we carry around ourselves is prehistoric.
Okay.
And this government just doesn't get it. So sometimes I wish that the lesser they understood our business, the better. My belief has always been, no government is best government. And the more you interfere, the worse it becomes.
I would like to make a point, in the last 10, 20 years, look at the 2 industries which have become one of the largest, I think, in our country. One is the mobile industry and the other is the software industry. Now, why have they grown so much is that both these mobile I'll take first, it's an infrastructure business, but that is the only infrastructure business where land is not really required. And that is why it has grown so much, because there has been not much of government interference. Government only came in the last, they couldn't resist it. The 2G and all that came in, but for about first 15 years, they didn't realize that they have so much money to make. Same thing with the BPO industry, with the software industry. Because everything was seamless.
There were no laws.
There were no, because,
there were no laws.
And look at the way it has grown. I used to say this even for luggage. You see, luggage grew in the 70s. Why luggage grew so well is because it was not a large industry. It was not very small also. So I didn't have so many
So you were slightly below the radar.
And it was sort of somewhere where free enterprise could do well. You see, this is a good example where there is not much government interference. Okay. Then, of course, soon, in the 80s, we had very high excise duty and all, they clamped, and then
and you moved to China.
No, I didn't go to China. That is because of the WTO.
Okay.
And in the 90s was a real nightmare because of the high excise duties, the small-scale sector had become a tax-evading sector. And they took all our growth, because their cost of manufacturing and selling was half of ours.
What I think is now is the time that we have to really see where we are, what are the future threats, what it is going to be, how the surrounding nations and even the big nations are going to be, and what are the threats. And can we look at the policies totally in a new way, in different way? And can we have new policies overall? Okay. Because the threats, the policies made so many years back. Yeah, so many years back. Now everything has changed drastically. Okay. We have to really have a new look.
Okay, Funny, let me come to you. As Alok put it so nicely, in the industry that you are in the space that both of you operate in, nothing matters as much as capital and people. What have been your experiences there? Is raising capital in India okay? As long as they have the idea, is it easy? And people?
Yeah, so I think raising capital is still okay because there are many VC funds that are there who are getting us capital. And finding people, I think it's more a function of the entrepreneurs and the idea and etc. So that is also still okay maybe right now. But some of the points that Alok touched upon are still valid when you want to find somebody from outside. that is still difficult. There's another thing that I want to get, which I think industries like ours are suffering, is the competition. For example, if you look at the Flipkart and the largest of the internet companies in India, who are they competing with? They're competing with the likes of Amazon, who are into the industry for decades, and they have access to easy capital. There the interest rate is 1-2%. They have this experience, and when they come here and enter and compete, it's an unfair playing ground. I feel that the government should probably, just like what I hear is in China, government help these large companies at least get to the same level playing field as the Googles and the Facebooks of the world. Maybe government should do the same thing here to help the likes of Flipkart to easily, I mean, to have some kind of advantage to compete with these large players who have easy capital and expertise for...
Senthil, I actually founded and sold a company in China.
All right.
Venture funded. It was mobile to win. We sold it to Disney. And it is a nightmare. It is an absolutely non-transparent communist regime. And I would completely disagree with Funny.
Okay.
The internet is all about hyper competition. VCs are free capital. They're not asking for interest. Amazon's capitalized. So if you're taking American VC, it's the same capital. How does it matter if it's in India or in the US? We're not taking money from State Bank of India. The money is the same. The competition is real. And that's how the Googles and the Amazons and the Facebooks have come about.
Okay.
So anything that is protectionist takes us back to the 70s of Russia and USSR and China and just kills us.
All right.
In fact, asking for government protection is the road to doom.
That's it. Yeah.
You know, look at these...
Okay, let's get Funny in. I think he... yes, Funny, a right of reply to you.
So what I was saying is, it is not... I mean, I'm not asking for protectionists, but I'm asking for helping our own organizations get to that scale.
What is holding you back? Because, for instance, today the government does have a rule where it says that only a foreign company cannot come into the e-commerce space consumer facing. It has to be business to business.
Yeah, so basically what I'm asking for is government has this 10,000 crores for entrepreneurship. I'm saying maybe most of it will go into maybe the manufacturing sector or early stage entrepreneurship. What I'm asking is part of that money, maybe 5,000 crores can be kept aside for this different sector. A different sector is helping these, first classification is helping the internet and mobile companies grow. Because the way I'm looking at it is the largest companies in the world today are the internet and mobile companies, the Facebooks, Googles, Amazons of the world.
So you want the government to play the role of incubator and angel?
No, I want the government to take cognizance of this. For example, yesterday the Make in India that has happened, right? It's all talking about the manufacturing sector and etc. I want the government to look at this other sector which has least ecology impact and which has the after effect of creating the high tech, high caliber society. This industry can have a big impact. Let's say let's say Flipkart is very successful. There are many more people who will come out and start companies, and just like in Alibaba, right? Alibaba is so successful, it has so much money that it is now looking at how do we make drones to deliver. They're creating high-tech technology, WeChat and etc., which is now going to other worlds and earning them forex.
Let me get because I think the cry here is environment. Yes, we don't want government interference, we don't want government controls, but the fact of the matter is that India has entered into this whole economic game pretty late in its stage of growth. So how do you ensure that Indian companies aren't swallowed up? Indian companies are given a level playing field without going quite the Bombay Club way?
I think it is a level playing field. You know, you have to accept that. I don't think this whole, in fact, what he said that government, what Funny said earlier, that government should take cognizance. My reaction was that because government hasn't taken cognizance, you have grown, you know.
Thank God.
Once the government takes cognizance, you're going to have trouble. Prime Minister made one statement yesterday. He said that in his experience as Chief Minister of Gujarat, he saw that industrialists, businessmen don't come, they don't want subsidies, they don't want help in the form of subsidies. They want a good environment, business environment.
I think that is the point that Funny was trying to make us.
I think he's trying to work towards that. He understands that, but you see, we have such a old, deep-rooted bureaucracy. But the man at the top does make a difference. And I'm very hopeful, that if Narendra Modi gets about 10 years to govern, he can really change the face of the country. Like, we can advance dramatically like China, Singapore, all these Asian tigers, so-called. how they have done, you know. See, this whole confidence make in India is because, see, manufacturing has been there for 200 years, 500 years, whatever. And that is where the remedies are required. And that is where the ailments are. So that is why we need to reform and really reform.
Okay.
Whereas all these new internet and mobile and all these are modern industries.
I think funny is the thing. Don't lose sight of us. So we
want them to lose sight of us.
No, because
lose sight of us.
How can you lose sight of the mobile and the internet? They are ruling the world today. So there is no question.
As Dilip said before, that Modi government we are in optimism right now. And we are hoping for many things.
Okay.
But the message is not clear still to the youth. Last week I was in Switzerland. Some of the Indian boys who were working there in a good hotel in catering, I asked them, then what are the future plans? Then somebody said, I am going to US. Somebody said, I am going to stay and settle in Switzerland. I said, why not India? Okay. Then the reply came was, what is there in India?
All right. Okay.
And that was really painful to me because we are representing India.
So for Make India, he's got to make it come back to India.
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
So
on that note, we've got to wind up. Thank you so much, Dilip, Alok, Pani. Thank you so much for joining us. So that is Change India Entrepreneurship. Thank you for watching. We'll be back again next week.
Edelweiss and CNBC TV 18 present Change India. What India needs.